So I finally got the damn thing drained. Now I kept the serpentine belt on so that I can hopefully very easily loosen this nut. There we go. And it's moving the whole friggin' pulley. All right, it's gonna devise a way to hold that pulley. All right, so I'll share with you what I have done. I put my big ass crescent wrench, well, not my biggest one, but one that's big enough to fit it, on that nut. Try to reef on it, and the serpentine belt slips, or the pulley slips on the belt. So then I used a map gas torch to give a little bit of heat to that nut. Still nothing. Then I took a screwdriver and wedged it. As you can see, it's slightly bent on the shaft there and underneath one of these bolts, and then tried to rotate that off. It also resulted in only bending my screwdriver. So now we have to go to plan C. I don't know what plan C is. I'm thinking about taking the serpentine belt off and putting a strap wrench on that pulley, and then the handle of the strap wrench is gonna sit up against this guy, preventing that pulley from turning while I reef on that nut down there. Because I do not want to have to go buy a $250 freaking specialty tool for this stupid ass job when the they're retarded for engineering it this way. I've never seen any other vehicle that's done this way. Usually you just take the 4 bolts off and the whole entire assembly comes off because it's a flange fit on the end of the pulley. But for whatever reason, the idiots at Ford or International, either one, when they designed this engine, they said, hey, let's put a nut on the end of it. Yeah, so that it mandates the mechanic has to spend $250 freaking dollars to buy a specialty sheet metal tool to fit around those 4 bolts, and then another tool that operates that nut there. What I also tried doing, and it did not work, with using a plumbing tool. I have my plumbing box because I'm a plumber after all, and the arms here need to be about that long to engage both bolts on either side. So that didn't work. If it comes down to it, I'll have to just fabricate my own special freaking tool using my metal shop. So let's see how this goes. So I knew going into this that I was going to be replacing a bunch of different parts. Among them is the upper radiator hose. This is quite stiff. It really is. This vehicle's got 265,000 miles on it. It was a fleet vehicle before I bought it from the guy who bought it from whomever, going back way back when. But at one point it was a fleet vehicle, which means it runs pretty damn well. I have no clue when this was replaced. Get rid of that guy. We're replacing the thermostat housing, which is the Ford stock thermostat housing. We're replacing it with some billet. I have a billet assembly I'm gonna put here, but now I guess, like I said, I still have to figure out how to I hope it's supposed to sound like that. But all my pulleys are pretty good to go. They run pretty smooth. No complaints. And then obviously the pump's not going to spin as easily because it's a freaking pump. But everything spins pretty well. think I got some more life left on them. So yeah, let's get that strap wrench bolted on here, or fixed on here. Like I said, I'm gonna put the handle up against this guy and see if I can reef on that nut to get it out. All right, so I used a trick I found online using a cargo strap. Strapping to one side, tighten the crap out of it. Coming to the other side, tightening the crap out of it, and that does not work. The pulley still slides, so I'm gonna have to fabricate a freaking tool. Now, I'd like to be able to show you exactly how I'm gonna do this, but I'll just explain it. So I'm gonna use my calipers here, right? And I'm gonna measure the width of these two bolts so that I can recreate the spanner wrench that's $250 freaking using some, I don't know, 1/4 inch, 3/8 steel, whatever I happen to have laying around. So whatever that measurement is, I'm gonna make my own spanner so that it'll engage all 4 bolts to hold that pulley in place while I reef on it with my, oh yeah, so before I had an 18-inch crescent wrench. All right, the last time I tried, I got the 24-inch crescent wrench. What, you don't have one of those? They're cheap as frig over at Harbor Freight, and I've owned that one for 20-something years. So yeah, definitely worth a buy, worth a look. All right, so I took 4 different measurements each time, indexing the water pump pulley 90 degrees to get 4 measurements. And I think what's happening here is it's probably really close to that number right there. This is probably the outlier, and I don't know, I think the outlier may be because it, depending upon how I'm measuring the 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, I probably got 2 flats versus bringing the caliper in on an angle. That's where these 3 things came in here. I don't know, so I'm just gonna go small. That way there I can always do for adjustment. Let's see what kind of stock we got. Got a whole bunch of different shit. This would be great. This is AR 500 plate. That'd make a hell of a tool. Probably be a bitch to freaking machine. I guarantee it'll be a bitch to machine. I got this 30-year-old piece of C channel that I don't know how I had. I've had this almost my entire adult life. I don't know why I own it. I don't know why I have it, but yeah, we got that if it comes down to it. What else we got? Yeah, that's pretty much about it. Those are my 2 options. I mean, I've got some 1/2-inch plate I can make it out of, but I don't want to overdo it, you know? I know it's kind of a weird thing for me to say that, but I don't really want to overdo it. After all, and we have to look at the width of this, and would that impede our ability? No, you know what? Because that freaking nut sits out like right there. That might be right there, the cock for dolly. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do it out of a 1/2-inch plate. All right, so let's chuck this thing up and let's rock and roll. All right, we're back out here the next day. So I went ahead and unbent the tool because I had bent it over like 5 degrees or so that it would, when I pushed down on my 24-inch crescent wrench, adjustable wrench, it would, my bar that I made would hit this, but it doesn't work as I thought it would. keeps slipping off. So back out today, try to figure out a different way to do it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the shape of this handle to accept a long pipe on the end of it, and I'm going to lock the pipe. Let's see if I can. I'm going to lock the pipe. There's an acorn right into my engine bay. All right, so that the pipe goes up underneath the steering box there, and use the weight of myself pushing down on the 24-inch wrench and the weight of the truck to hold the other side, because that sucker's not moving. Like I said yesterday, even with heat, it still doesn't move. All right, so this is 2 days later. My it wasn't ½ inch, it was 3/8 thick tool that I made. Yeah, it fits perfectly, but there's no real way to, I guess, really reef on it, because it needs to be like 3 freaking feet long. So I broke down and I bought the Lyle, I think it's the 43-600 or the 46-300 tool set that comes with this guy. And one of the things I noticed on the 7.3 is this little ear is a little bit too wide. It starts out at 0.1995, and let me get a measurement of what this is now. I had to grind it down to fit between the fan clutch nut and the face of the pulley. Stand by. So the way this tool operates, see if I can do this one-handed, is it has to fit between the nut and that bolt, and it sits right on that side to give you leverage there. But the way it comes in the package is it will not fit between this nut and the edge of this bolt. So the takedown was at 200ths, I think it was, or 2/10ths, so it'll fit. So maybe, just maybe, it'll work now. Oh, and this tool set does come with 2 other tools. It comes with this guy that I don't know what that would be used for, but according to the reviews and the product description online, this is a GM and Dodge tool. Now, however, this tool is a 47 mil, and that will in fact fit that nut very nicely too, I might add. So it'll be a little more secure than using my 24-inch adjustable. Plus I can put a 3-foot long ½ inch pry bar on this guy and, you know, give her the beans. So hopefully, you know, 3 days into it, I can finally get the stupid freaking fan clutch off. If this does not work, I'm going to destroy that nut. I'm just going to remove it. I'm going to cut it off with a torch or something and replace the entire fan clutch. And while I'm at it, I might have to replace the fan too. You know, it's only a few $100s. So I say that sarcastically. Hopefully this works. All right, so this is the setup I had to use. I got it free. I've got a 2-foot ½ inch breaker bar. I had to use a worm drive clamp because I put the stainless steel exhaust zip ties on here and broke them free. It just wanted to wobble too much, and I only got one of those little one of these tools here. So I used that on the bolt up against the tensioner, and I had to put, so I weigh about 255. I'm a pretty stout dude. I got a lot of ass behind me, and I've been turning wrenches my whole life. That's why, you know, my hands look the way they do. They're pretty freaking strong, and it took all of my body weight pulling, reefing on that nut, and it finally went zip. It finally went, and it's free. So yeah, I wasted a day of production making my own tool to hold those 4 bolts, and I think it's like $50. Luckily I found this thing on China's On. I'll put the link in on the screen here. Yeah, so that will work. You just will have to modify this ear down, I think it's like 2/10ths of an inch. All right, and all right, let me get back in this thing and keep the teardown going. Well, so it's off, and good news, everyone. I've heard a lot of people complain that this front cover to the engine gets all marred up. Let's see if I can't turn that light down a little bit. Yeah. They've experienced that front plate gets gouged out through cavitation and metal wear from the fan itself. And although I believe, looking at this and looking at the pump I just took off, I'm fairly certain that my leak I was experiencing, which was running down in that area, was really actually due to the thermostat housing, because there's a lot of wear and corrosion on that housing. However, hold on, I want to keep sniffling in the microphone here, sorry about that. But if we look at the pump, where's the pump? If you can hear this, oh, it's rubbed on the ground. On just listen for a second. It does not spin freely. I mean, you really gotta push it and it stops almost immediately. It feels like the seal on the inside was binding up on it a little bit, but there's no rubbing on the back here. I don't see any metal wear, which is good. Yeah, I think this thing here was leaking, because it was coming from like on top of the housing and then down the side. But you know, the pump's 120 bucks. I think it is 150, somewhere right around there. I'm this deep into it, might as well replace it. It's got 265,000 miles on it, so buy once, cry once. I'm also, like I said, replacing the radiator, and luckily I don't have to replace that stupid fan clutch, although now would be a good time to do it. I'll have to mull that over on some beer. I'm currently out of beer. I don't have any beer right now, so wait on the wife. She's en route. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that the pump itself was in fact going bad, because this is from XDP diesel, and if you listen to this, it doesn't have that rubbery tension to it. Plus it doesn't spin, like you can't flip it and spin it, but it has good tension all the way through. This is a brand new one from them. Like I said, it was like 120 something bucks, something like that. So yeah, all things considered, I think that was a good decision on my behalf, on my part, even though I'm almost certain the leak was coming from here. To replace the thermostat housing, I've got this billet stainless steel job. Guess that's the part number. Also from XDP, although they don't make it. I forgot who makes it, Beans or something like that, Bills or some. But yeah, we're gonna slap that guy, clean up the surface first, and then slap that thing in there. All right, as you can see, we've got it all cleaned up, nice and purty. Because after all, if it's worth doing right. I even got, like, back up in here, that whole area underneath that bracket there, that was just caked, I says, with oil and crud and 200 and some thousand, 22 years of gunk. And yeah, so we're ready for the water pump tomorrow, but I'm not gonna do it tonight, because I decided to take the water pump pulley and paint it, because the inside was completely corroded. It wasn't completely corroded, but it was rusty. It looked like shit. So, and again, if you're gonna do it right. So she's all cleaned up. Oh, little factoid: a lot of guys will use brake cleaner to do something like this. I'm not saying it will not work, but my recommendation is don't use it, because of crap like that. Your crank positioning pulley, as it was, the crank positioning sensor, and all these little delicate plugs and so forth, especially these little rubbery gaskets, they can become damaged very easily with that. Let me show you what I use instead. So The stuff I would recommend is this. This is CRC QD electronics cleaner. The brake cleaner will actually make the plastic, a lot of times, almost every time I've ever used it, this plastic on the connectors, it'll actually turn it really brittle and cause it to fail a lot sooner than what you would want. And anybody who's ever chased down a bad sensor knows that that's a difficult thing to do. So that's the stuff to use. What I would recommend instead of brake cleaner, anytime you're doing a gasket repair on an engine, you got these little sensors hanging around. So there you go. So that's the end of the video for today. Tomorrow is going to be the installation of all the parts, put it back together, hopefully start it up by the end of the day. I actually ran out of beer. This is my last one. And by the way, Warsteiner, great freaking beer, as I'm spilling it all over my schmoo here. But Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, man, why in the absolute holy hell are you making beer now with, what is this? Yeah, you might not be able to see it. 11.2 fluid ounces. A freaking beer can is supposed to be 12 ounces. You mother